And we're back. Mike, Cernovich, DangerPlay.com, Gorilla Mindset. This is going to be by far the most controversial Periscope message I ever do, and here's why. It's come to my attention that Soros is funding a lot of veterans groups, and you see it now percolating in the fake news. Earlier on Twitter, a guy posted a screenshot about what happened last night. Remember last night, a widow was honored, a fallen soldier was honored. And a guy posted a screen cap. The journalists and pundits think that was a good speech, but the veterans don't. And then he cherry picks a few veterans. And this is what they're doing. Here's the reality. 75% of combat soldiers support Trump. 75%. The media won't tell you this. None of these front groups will tell you that. 75% of actual trigger pullers are pro-Trump. So here's what they do. They wrap their social justice message around veterans, and then nobody can criticize them because they go, "What are you saying that not all military service is equal?" Why, yes, I am. I can say that as somebody who was a second lieutenant in the National Guard and Army Reserves. My service ain't shit. Right? I did 9 years. Wasn't deployed and wasn't combat vet. All right? Yes. The people who are on the front lines having shrapnel blown in their faces, who are being shot at every day, the infantry, that's why they get the combat infantryman's badge. That's just the reality. So yes, I am saying it, not all service is created equal. The fake news wants to make it seem like all service is created equal, so then they can go, "Oh yeah, all these veterans hate Trump." No, they don't. The actual trigger pullers love Trump. Go talk to SOF groups, Ranger Regiment, Navy SEALs, Marine Infantry, Forest Recon, even Fort Benning, Georgia, 10th Mountain Division, 82nd Airborne, Fort Bragg. Go to any military installation where they're on an 18-hour high alert. Everybody's got to be deployable in 18 hours, right? The combat frontline responders, and ask them what they think about Trump. They're all overwhelmingly pro-Trump. They're overwhelmingly pro-Trump. So the media doesn't want to tell you that. So they'll get a few people and put them out front and go, "Oh yeah, the veterans community." And they define them as the veterans community. That is the new game. They are now creating out of whole cloth a, quote, veterans community. And then they're saying, "Here's what the veterans community, fuck you, try coffee, freedom is serious." All right, you're blocked. That's what I mean. People get triggered by it. But I wore the uniform. Pull up my DD-214. You can FOIA me. FOIA that shit. Yeah, find my DD-214. It's not hard, right? And that's the game. The game is now to create and manufacture a veterans consensus and use them to attack Trump. And then if you try to explain what is happening, they go, "Damn you, you can't do this, you must hate veterans, you must have no respect for people." That's the game. Soros is funding it. I have a source. I'll tell you why not all service is equal. I'll tell you why. One of my sources for this story on Soros and how he's funding these veterans groups. 5 years Ranger Battalion. 2 shoulder operations, 2 back operations. They put a TENS unit. You know, if you've ever been to physical therapy, you know what a TENS unit is? It shoots out electrical impulses to help with the pain. He had to have a TENS unit installed in his back because he couldn't walk for more than 30 minutes. They were going to take it out, but the TENS unit has now fused to his spine. So if they took out the TENS unit, then he could be paralyzed because it's fused to his spine, okay? Yeah, not all service is equal, right? That's the thing. I live in the real world. I don't, because people have thanked me for my service, and I'm just like, "What service? What are you talking about? I didn't do shit." And the left now, what they're trying to do now is to say, "Oh yeah, all service is created equal, and you must hate veterans and this and that." No, it's not. It's the reality, man. So here's the reality. Every time some veterans group goes off on Trump and talk about how the veterans community hates Trump, ask them, say, "Well, what percentage of people, 10th Mountain, 82nd Airborne, any of the 3 Ranger battalions, Ranger training battalion, ask them how many infantry people in the Marines are pro-Trump. They don't want to go there, though, because the actual, on the line, the people getting blown up, the people who are living the hardest lives, the people who really embraced what we think of as a vet, because if you think of a vet, you don't think of, you think you have a certain image, right? If you think of a combat veteran, you're thinking combat infantry. That's why the Army, that's why when people go, how dare you, sir, say, not all service is equal. Who can get a combat infantryman's badge? Who can get a CIB? An infantryman and direct line of combat. So the Army, even the Army goes, you know what? All service is to be respected and valued, but if you're an infantryman, you're a combat infantryman, then you're going to get the combat infantryman's badge. Not everybody is going to get that. That's the reality. So the truth is that the combat vets overwhelmingly support Trump. Soros and the fake news media, they're now trying to create and manufacture a false consent against Trump. Yeah, most vets in general support Trump. But the fake news media, and these people are being paid. These veterans, well, they're real veterans, but a lot of them are exaggerating what they've done. There's a lot of stolen valor in the Trump-hating community. The people who hate Trump and wrap themselves around the flag as veterans, the Trump haters, there is so much stolen valor going on there that you wouldn't even believe it. But you can't call it out because then they'll say, oh, you must hate. John McCain has stolen valor, right? John McCain actually operated as a spy for the Vietnamese propagandists. But if you say anything remotely critical of anybody who is a veteran, then your life is pretty much done because people really will use that to attack you. But, luckily, I have a DD-214, so anybody who wants to be mad and angry, went to basic training for it. So Oklahoma, 1995, Charlie Company, I think Charlie Company first for the 19th. I'm not sure, though. But, yeah, you can look it up. You can find the records. You can find the service records. Go ahead and find it. I got the DD-214, and I'm telling you that my service ain't nothing. My service was nothing. The service of people who, military, infantry, those are the guys that we should respect. We should respect everybody, don't get me wrong. But if people want to play this game where they want to bring out soldiers to attack Trump, and they want to bring out soldiers to play politics, and they want to try to create this false consensus about the veterans community, then we definitely need to call that out, and I will call it out. And if people get angry at me on the internet, then I'm used to it because I have no tolerance for stolen valor, which is a lot of what's going on. Massive amounts of stolen valor. And yeah, I went to AIT at Fort Gordon, Georgia. 31 uniform. I don't even think 31 uniform is at MOS anymore. But get out of here, right? You go to basic, you go to AIT. I did officer cadet school. Whatever, It's just like tough football practice, It's like 2 days in football. And so that's why I don't even mention it. Most people don't even know that I ever was a second lieutenant. People are like, oh, I didn't know that about you. It's like, yeah, because I didn't do shit, man. I didn't do anything. I was a second lieutenant, big whoop. I did OCS, basic AIT, did my, whatever. I didn't do nothing. Big whoop. Big whoop. The 19-year-old 11 Bravo going to Fort Benning, Georgia, then deploying to Iraq, getting shot at, IEDs after him. Comes back with a combat infantryman badge. That guy has done something. That guy's done something. That's a combat vet. So all this bullshit of fake news and George Soros trying to pretend like there's this veterans community and the veterans community really hates Trump. They're really against Trump. That's all fabrication. Most of these people who are rushing out to attack Trump they're stolen valor. Most of them are exaggerating their deployments. They're exaggerating what they did on deployment. If you want to talk to the real deal, again, if you want to know who did most of the fighting in the in Afghanistan and Iraq, if you want to know, it was Ranger Battalion, right? Everybody, Ranger Regiment, right? Everybody knows that. If they don't know that, then they don't even know what they're talking about, right? If they don't even know that it was Ranger Battalion that was right there in the front, the brunt of the losses, the casualty losses on deployment, 10%. There were deployments in Afghanistan, 10% casualty rate. That means 100 Rangers go out, 10 of them are shot or dead. So what do they think about Trump? You know what they think about Trump? How long were you in? It doesn't matter, because what did I do? It doesn't matter. Ask them what they think about Trump. What percentage? So here's what we need to do to push back, but in a way that people can't say, "Oh, you must hate veterans." Whenever people go, the veterans community doesn't like Trump, or the veterans community doesn't like how Trump used it. How disgusting are you to say Trump used a widow? Did she look like she felt used? Did she look right? Did the widow look like she felt that was wrong? She was moved. That's how disgusting these stolen valor people are. These people who are lying about their deployments and lying about their service record. I got no respect for that. Maybe they got deployed, but they were behind the wire, right? They flew in behind the wire running comms or something. Great, I'm glad they did it. But let's not pretend that they were out going on missions every day, kicking down doors. Let's just not pretend, right? I do real journalism. I do real adult work. Let's not pretend they were doing stuff they weren't doing. So we can respect the service record of everybody. But I'm not going to let the fake news media pretend that these people are the whole veterans community. I'm not going to do it. They're trying to recognize them as something they aren't. It's bullshit. Stolen valor. And they're looking bad. It's a bad look. So reality is, let's see some surveys. Let's see a poll. I want to hear a poll. The media, they love their polls, right? Have they ever polled the military by MOS? I want a poll done of 11 Bravo about what they think about Trump. They'll never do that poll. I want to see a poll, not just what veterans think about Trump. I want to see, what do 11 Bravos think about Donald Trump? That'd probably be like 90%, right? If you were go to an infantry thing and go around some infantrymen and talk shit about Donald Trump, see how well that goes. They'll never do that poll. They'll never do the actual survey. What do the combat infantrymen, what do the 11 Bravo combat infantrymen think about Donald Trump? They'll never do that. So what they'll do is they'll poll all veterans, or they'll call people like me a veteran, which is not. I'm not a veteran. They will put people up there, or maybe somebody who deployed but didn't really do anything. And they'll go, "Oh, that's what the veterans think." It's fake news. It is funded by George Soros, and it's happening. And I have spreadsheets, data. We have a big expose coming on the social justice warrior infiltration of the veterans community. You're going to love it. We're going to break that news. So anyway, I just wanted to get people caught up on that. I'm going to do another Periscope later today. We have a lot of good things going on. Thanks. Yeah, you guys like the hair. Thanks. Thanks for the haircut. But I got a lot more stories coming in. I did a bunch of journalism, and I got more information than most people are ever going to get in a year, because they just got to troll Twitter. That's all they have. Twitter journalism. The media is fake. Yeah, I'm glad I'm home too. Back with the dog. We'll bring Syra out for the next Periscope. Thanks for tuning in. Mike Cernovich, DangerandPlay.com, Guerrilla Mindset.